That was excellent.
It was amazing.
The 1800 American presidential election was between John Adams, the incumbent, and Thomas Jefferson, the challenger. Adams had been vice president under George Washington and was elected president outright when George Washington declined to run for a third term. In the 1800 presidential election, Jefferson won and John Adams stepped down as President of the United States. Now, the United States is the first nation in the history of the world to select its head of state via an election. That means the election of 1800 is the very first political, peaceful transfer of power between political partisans. Since that time, the United States has had thousands of elections at the national, state, county, and local levels. And now free and fair elections exist in countries all across the globe. This, my friends, is America's greatest gift to the world. You see, free and fair elections create legitimacy for the elected government. They provide us representation as citizens, and they encourage public participation in the political process. But most importantly, free and fair elections encourage accountability for our elected officials, making them far more effective and responsive leaders than their counterparts in non-democratic countries. Now, free and fair elections are only possible in the United States because we, as American citizens, abide in an unspoken covenant with one another, in which we believe, first off, elections are the best way to choose our leaders. 2, we trust in the electoral process. And 3, we step down from power when we lose an election and allow our political opponents to take our place. One of the greatest threats to our system of self-government is cheating in an election. That is why Donald Trump's repeated claims that the 2020 election was stolen from him should be taken so seriously. If Donald Trump is right about the 2020 election, then Joe Biden would be one of the greatest criminals in American history. He would have committed a coup, and our system of self-government is already broken. If Donald Trump is wrong about the 2020 election, then his lie would be one of the most destructive lies in the history of America, because he would have poisoned the minds of many of his supporters, including many of us here, to lose faith in our system of self-government. In fact, a recent poll found that 69% of Republicans believe that Joe Biden's win in 2020 was illegitimate. This means 69% of Republicans are already losing faith in our political traditions. Now, here's the thing. They may be correct in their assessment of the 2020 election, or they may be wrong. In either case, our system of self-government is in jeopardy, which means Donald Trump's claim about the 2020 election, that it was stolen from him, is the most important issue in the upcoming 2024 election. Do you agree? Some of you may not. Just saw a few hands there. Take an issue like abortion. Many of you think that's very important. You might be pro-life. You might be pro-choice. However, if we lose or have already lost our system of a democratically elected constitutional republic, it doesn't matter what you think about abortion. It's a secondary issue. So how do we tell if the 2020 election was stolen or not? This is a pretty important issue, isn't it? Simply doing research online isn't sufficient. You'll find what you're looking for even if it's not true. Different news organizations have different opinions about this for a variety of reasons. The best way to tell if the 2020 election was stolen or not is through our judicial system. Present your case in court, call witnesses, put them under oath, let the other side do the same thing, let a verdict be issued. In fact, this has already happened. Over 60 cases related to election irregularities were filed in 9 states by Donald Trump or his allies following the 2020 presidential election. Nearly all the suits were dropped or dismissed due to a lack of evidence or a lack of standing, meaning they did not have the right to bring the suit in the first place. Only one of the over 60 suits were ruled in Donald Trump's favor. It involved a minor issue in the Pennsylvania election that did not change the outcome of Pennsylvania's presidential election. Therefore, the 2020 election was free, it was fair, it was legitimately won by Joe Biden. However, Donald Trump's lies about the 2020 election are breaking the unspoken covenant we have with one another as American citizens. Donald Trump is causing millions of his supporters to reject the results of a free and fair election. And he's causing those same people to not trust the electoral process. It's only a matter of time, if Donald Trump is not held accountable, when his supporters will decide that elections are not the best way to choose our leaders. Mr. Toastmaster.